Well, facing an uphill battle to halt the Russian onslaught, Ukraine is now exploring all options on the table. With promised Western weapons yet to arrive and facing a relentless enemy, Kyiv is now turning to its youngest generation, Gen Z, to take up arms and join the fight on the front lines. Our next report telling you more.
A battered nation, a brutal war. And now an urgent call to the youngest sons and daughters of Ukraine. As Russia's grinding assault stretches Ukrainian defenses to the brink, Kyiv is launching a radical last-ditch campaign to bolster its front lines, not with reinforcements from the west, but from within. Facing critical troop shortages and the delayed arrival of Western weapons, Ukraine is turning to Generation Z. In a stark appeal, the Ukrainian government is offering $25,000 up front to volunteers under 24, with another $25,000 after a year of service. A bold incentive to tempt the young into the line of fire, into the heart of the nation's war for survival. The young recruits speak of motivation to fight for their motherland.
I believe that we need the support of the whole world, because how else can we cope with this when we are quarreling with each other? We need both the support of Western partners.
Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. If this aid comes to us, it will be very wonderful. But how many times have we been told this, and how many times has it not been done? Ukrainians must understand that we can only count on ourselves, not on the West, not on the East, not on any other part of our planet, but only on ourselves.
This radical shift in recruitment strategy represents a desperate gamble, starkly highlighting the severe human toll of the ongoing conflict. Russia has returned approximately 1,000 bodies of Ukrainian soldiers killed in combat, while Ukraine returned the remains of 19 Russian troops. These sobering numbers underscore the devastating price both nations are paying in this prolonged war. On the battlefield, the situation remains grim and unforgiving. According to the latest intelligence reports, Pokrovsk and Sumy are under intense, sustained attack. In Kharkiv, battle-hardened soldiers manning the trenches describe facing an unending swarm of Russian drones that creates a constant, deadly threat from above.
It is more difficult for us to shoot down the swarm because you will only take down, for example, 5 to 6 at most. If you manage to hit 2, that is good, but the rest of the mass will simply pass you by, and you will not have time to destroy them, because there are a lot of them.
With promised American weapon systems still to arrive, Ukraine is marshalling every available resource to halt the Russian advance. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has emphasized the critical importance of developing advanced drone interceptors as the most rational approach to countering the massive swarms of enemy drones. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Well, Syrian Arab tribes have declared a mobilization and made a powerful cultural statement. Amidst the ongoing fighting, especially in southern Syria, some tribes in Syria have announced that they will not drink Arabic coffee until all Syrian provinces return to government control. And this is no ordinary gesture, because Arabic coffee is not just a drink in Syrian tribal culture, it is considered a sacred tradition, For centuries, tribes across the rural regions of Syria have treated this coffee as a symbol of hospitality, dignity and peace. Even as modern beverages fill store shelves, Arabic coffee reportedly remains irreplaceable in Syrian tribal homes. It is generally the first offering to a guest, the centerpiece of any gathering, and often the bridge to resolving disputes or conflicts. In the Syrian tribal society, major disputes ranging from verbal spats to serious crimes are reportedly often mediated over a cup of coffee, this Arabic coffee. So boycotting Arabic coffee isn't a small act. It is perhaps a statement of unity and resistance, perhaps showing how deeply these tribes are tied to their land and how much of the goal of Syrian reunification means to them in today's time. Well, Russia and China are making a fresh push to revive the RIC. That's Russia, India, China Trilateral Group. And that's after Russia and China backed the idea of reviving this troika. But the question is, can India trust this outreach, especially when border tensions with China remain unresolved and with Beijing continuing to support Pakistan's anti-India activities? Let's understand in the next few minutes. First, it started with Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Andrei Rudenko, who, according to Russian news outlet, said that Moscow is negotiating with both Beijing and New Delhi to bring back the RIC format. He was quoted as saying, and I'm quoting him here, "We expect RIC to resume. These three countries are important partners and founders of BRICS. The absence of this format is inappropriate." Rudenko added that the revival would depend on relations reaching a level that allows trilateral work. And now China has backed this. Asked about these comments, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson said that cooperation among Russia, India and China serves the interests of all the three countries and contributes to regional and global peace and stability. China's Lin Jian said, and I'm quoting again, "China stands ready to maintain communication with Russia and India in a bid to advance trilateral cooperation under the RIC format." In response, the Indian Ministry of External Affairs took a measured stance, describing RIC as a consultative format to discuss global and regional issues of common interest. It said any meeting would be worked out mutually. MEA spokesperson has said, and I quote here, "RIC is a consultative forum. Future meetings will be scheduled at mutual convenience," unquote. So the question right now is, why are Russia and China so keen, so eager to revive this grouping now? Well, for Moscow, India is a critical partner. It's an important partner, especially as Russia faces deep isolation from the West, and that is over its war in Ukraine. India remains one of Russia's largest oil buyers and a major arms market. Reviving the RIC ensures that Russia is not entirely dependent on China for its diplomatic heft in Asia and can also showcase its relevance as a Eurasian power broker. Which brings us to China. Here's why China needs India. For Beijing, RIC is a way to keep India engaged within an Asian framework and also as a way to perhaps counterbalance India's growing ties with the United States of America, Japan and even Australia under the Quad. Sure, as of now, China has been making overtures to normalize ties with India. Earlier this week, Indian Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar even met leaders from Russia and China on the sidelines of the SCO summit. But joint work under RIC has been stalled since 2020. First, due to COVID-19 pandemic and then because of the deadly border clash in Ladakh's Galwan Valley. And so, as far as China is concerned, India remains cautious. The question being, can New Delhi really trust Beijing at this stage? The military standoff in eastern Ladakh is yet to be resolved. Chinese troops remain deployed in forward areas, and India has repeatedly stated that normal ties with Beijing entirely depends on peace and tranquility along the line of actual control, the LAC. Add to this, China's continued support to Pakistan including its infrastructure projects in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and the blocking of UN terror listings against anti-India terrorists. All these factors only deepens the trust deficit. So while Russia and China want India back in their troika to rather showcase the unity and counter Western influence, India's participation will depend on how seriously China addresses New Delhi's core concerns. For now, the troika is back on the table. The question being, can it walk the talk? That we'll have to wait and watch. In other news, Taiwan is in a war mode, simulating a potential Chinese invasion in one of its largest drills ever held this week. And the signs are ominous, to say the least, something which has also triggered reactions from China. Our next story telling you more.
Air raid sirens blaring across Taipei's skies. Cities shut down. Put on standstill, roads deserted and residents staying indoors. These are scenes from modern-day Taiwan, which seems to be under siege, when in fact it is preparing for a Chinese attack. Except this isn't a real war, but a rehearsed one at that. What is just a routine annual drill in Taiwan is bigger and better this year, with civilians equally involved in war preparations, alongside military personnel. Close to 7 million people in central Taipei alone are undergoing rigorous trainings to seek shelter. In schools, apartment buildings, parking garages, wherever they get cover.
The society is so messy now. There are a lot of unpredictable situations, so it is actually necessary to be as well prepared as possible. Everyone should cooperate as much as possible. At least we know what to do when crises happen, that we are mentally prepared. Of course, we hope for world peace, and such things would never happen, but knowing how to act if they do, drills like this would be beneficial for us.
Taiwan's approach is straight. Better be safe and prepared than sorry. With the Taiwan vice president saying that it doesn't see conflict with China.
Taiwanese people are peace-loving and among the friendliest and most generous in the world. We do not seek conflict. We will not provoke confrontation. And as President Lai indicated in his inaugural speech, we have urged the PRC to dialogue with the democratically elected government of Taiwan with parity and respect.
But China isn't visibly pleased with the developments, with the Chinese Foreign Ministry saying that Taiwan is part of China, no matter what the island's ruling Democratic Progressive Party says or does.
Taiwan is part of Chinese territory. The Taiwan question is purely an internal affair of China, and how to resolve it is a matter for the Chinese people. The greatest threat to peace across the Taiwan Strait is the Taiwan independent separatist forces and those behind them, the external forces that condone and support them.
With this, China sends a clear and chilling message that it will continue to uphold the One China principle. Beijing's escalating pressure on Taiwan in recent years, signaling a shadow war waiting to turn into a real one. It's a matter of not if, but when. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
All right, the sky has lost a pioneer. Felix Bombgartner, who broke the sound barrier in a record-setting skydive from the edge of space, has now died in a paragliding crash in Italy. He was 56. Baumgartner was flying a motorized paraglider in Italy's central Marche region. He lost control and crashed near a hotel swimming pool. The cause of the accident is still unknown. Some reports suggest that he may have suffered a medical emergency mid-air. Well, the Daily Mail reported that he lost consciousness after the crash and later died of cardiac arrest. Baumgartner wasn't just any daredevil. He was the daredevil himself. In 2012, he completed a jump from the edge of space. He jumped from a balloon 24.5 miles or 39 kilometers above Earth and became the first skydiver to break the sound barrier, reaching speeds over 843 miles per hour. The world watched as he landed safely back on Earth. The self-styled god of the skies began parachuting as a teenager. He then went on to make thousands of jumps from planes and bridges. Perhaps he even jumped off the Christ Redeemer statue in Brazil. In 2003, he crossed the English Channel using a carbon fiber wing. In his home country of Austria, Baumgartner was also known for controversial views, including support for dictatorship. Baumgartner spent his life pushing limits and redefining what humans could achieve in the air. And tributes have been pouring in from across the world.